Okay, today's class is about conflicts and how to resolve everyday conflicts. And because we live in a fallen world and we have the same nature of the world, it is a part of life and it's a normal part of life. Maybe we pray and then continue. Heavenly Father, we come to you because you are the master of relationships. And you sent us like sheep in the wolves. And you told us to be like serpents, wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. Lord, you are our shepherd, and we are okay to be sheep and the wolves. But we need you to live with ourselves and others in this fallen nature, Lord. We need you. We need your nature to grow in us, and we need you, Lord, because you are the ultimate knower, ultimate feeler in the relationships. So, Father, come and give us new insights and skills to resolve conflicts in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, I said conflict is a normal part of life. It wasn't for me until I met God. Because when the conflict came in my life, if somebody was upset with me or odd with me, that was the end of my world. I really got stressed, lost my joy, and lost a lot of sleep over it. And this was before knowing God. But as long as we live around people, our actions and opinions will be bumping other people's opinions and actions. And sometimes you'll be able to just step back and just go your own way. But as you probably figured it out, that not all the time you can back off. And many relationships are very precious to let it go. And some people, they just don't let it go until they get everything they want. There are some people like that. And on top of this, put a lot of intense emotions on top of this. Conflicts can be painful and messy. So, but it doesn't have to be destructive and messy. The conflict with the God's way. But by the way, I will be giving, if you need it, I will be giving the notes. You can just take small notes if you want. But if you're going to pay attention, just wanted to let you know, guys. So, as you learn God's ways to resolve a conflict, actually you can see this as an opportunity to make the relationship stronger and closer. But sometimes it will just serve as giving the fair solution to everyone. And best of all, to please and honor God. But please and honor God, when the conflict hits, I bet this is not the first thing in your mind when somebody say or do something to you. It wasn't for me. The first 29 years of my life, when the main chief goal in my conflict to please and honor others and give them what they want. So I won't be in trouble or I won't lose the relationship. This was my response. So God was not in the picture. But when Jesus came to my life, personal and powerful way, of course, what he does first is the priority is upside down, and then he began to change me and give me insights and skills to deal with, first of all, with myself and the people. What we will do today is I will share with you guys with some principles and filters when you find yourself in a conflict. Before you open your mouth, you can use those to understand where you are at when other people, where they are at and where you are, both of you, in front of God. So first of all, I would like to comment on nature of the conflict. What is conflict and where is it coming from? I want you guys to picture a couple, family. They have kids, and this husband travels a lot, and he's not at home like 3-4 nights because of his work. He just has to travel. Then imagine this husband is gone and he's coming back, and the wife is in the airport picking him up. And then imagine this scene. He comes and hugs her, and he says, "I miss you." And then they go in the car, and then he says, "What's for dinner?" And then she says, "Oh honey, today was really hard. Can we just eat out?" And then husband says, "Well, if you really want, we can, but I wish you would have think of me once. I have been living in the hotels, eating snacks and eating in McDonald's 3-4 days a week." And then after this bomb goes on the floor, she says, "Me? You think of me in this situation only? Have you asked how was my day? Did you realize where I am at right now? Like, the kids were impossible, and I had a hard time with the mom. I have to take her out, and then made the laundry, put everything, and then dog just throw out on the carpet. And I came here, and you're asking me, I fix a dinner for you or not?" Can you imagine? Did you see the conflict? Both of them saying me. So if they don't stop the direction of the conversation, it's going to be so distractive. But conflict begins when you don't get what you want. Conflict happens when you're odd with another person over what you think, what you want and do. And whatever you're experiencing or you will be experiencing as a conflict, it will not come out of anywhere or nowhere. It doesn't happen in our team. James 4:1-2 says, "What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You want something but don't get it. You kill, covet, but you cannot have it what you want. You quarrel and fight." James points out the source of the conflict, our desires. In Eastern, especially in Western world, we are bombarded with my desire, my dreams, my goals, my wishes are more important than anything else. So, and I see this in the movies. It's a little bit different in my culture, but a kid can respond to a parent, "This is my right, I deserve this." So they have this boldness. They are demanding and asking their rights, their needs, because this is how they believe. And as Christians, we cannot escape from conflicts. And some Christians I know, unfortunately, they don't want to, if they think, I think this is how they think. I think if I be just right to everyone, I won't get in conflict, or they won't mistreat me. So this is not true, unfortunately. This is not how it works. This is not the real life. So because we are all part of the problem, even if we want to go in a cocoon and not get in a conflict, it's coming with us. So this is the nature of the conflict. It is selfishness. It's us. Because no matter how we think, "Oh, we know God, I know the gospel," this is our default mode. We have to be very careful about it. The conflict starts with within our desires. And then very quickly, the causes of conflicts. I have good news for you. I really like this, and I learned not all the conflicts are bad. Now you might say, "What is that?" Each one of us like a different part of the body, and Paul uses in 1 Corinthians and this this picture, we are like a body. And like fingers, toes, and in that small Korean church, there were a lot of arguments because people were very busy with themselves. Like I was busy with Toe. Toe was feeling sorry that because he's or she's not ahead. So people were attacking their differences. I was searching and somebody told me, if we don't have this, we cannot zip up. We cannot, and I tried, it's not working. So even with a small missing, there is consequences in the body. So each one of us bring different perspectives and gifts to life. To make it more simple, if it's, and I believe you're studying, but gifts of spirit, let's say as a church, there are people with mercy, there are people with the gift of giving or teaching, leading. Let's talk about a meeting and a lot of different gifts here, and people will give different opinion. If that person has a mercy gift, that person will say, we should reach out more hurting people, and because that person will see the need because that person is gifted in that area. And then if teacher sees the need of correction, teacher will step in because it's his gift. So people has to embrace that differences, and those are not conflicts. Does it make sense? But we might get irritated by them because, let's say, I know a friend. We were serving together in Germany, and as soon as he sees people, start talking with them. He's an evangelist, and he's just like, can he just stop sometimes? And can he just stop talking about Jesus? Like, just we can talk about water. Like, you don't have to always do that. It's just because he's not like me. He's different. God designed him different. So if we handle the differences well, it is beautiful. It keeps life interesting, but it can irritate us too. We have to be careful. Nobody is perfect. Every gift has their weakness and strength. So this is a good conflict. But the other conflicts, I'm sorry, I cannot say it very good. They come from misunderstanding. No one on the earth communicates perfectly, speaking and listening. Countless conflicts arise when we think we have spoken and made ourselves clear, or we have understood other person. We prejudge and we get impatient, and as fallen natures, what we do, we assume the worst about that person immediately. But God says, please believe in the best until you actually know otherwise. And the third one is just basically the main one, actually, the results of our sinful attitudes. Again, James says, what causes fight and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? This is a crucial insight, and I will talk about it in detail very soon. But for now, there are three simple summary on this. People are different, and we want different things. That is often a spark, and it's a conflict. And the second is, this difference gets worse when sinful, selfish pride drive our reaction. If you react with your flesh, this is the gasoline. And if you keep feeding that flesh, this is going to be fire of conflict. See, the problem is not where you start, it's where you stop. Because seldom we lay our right and try to work our own difference. What we say is, I did this too much. I said, we are different, I'm right, I got the win. because we don't understand. Okay, I would like to give this, I believe this is gonna help. This is extra. There are 3 basic ways people respond to conflicts. And there's, in the middle, biblical response. We choose to escape, attack, or make peace. When conflict happens, escapers focus on running. Attackers aim on winning. You can take a note if you want to do it. Running on the escape, winning on the attacker's part. And the peacemaker goal is reconciling, restoring and repairing damaged relationship. Escapes, they run. You know Tom and Jerry, when Tom sees that bulldog, he just boom, and you see that dust. This is what escapers do. I want you to imagine this as a hill covered with ice. And if you move too far on the left, too far on the right, you lose your footing and you go down. So with your responses to a conflict, you can see there are murder on this side, and this is not a shock to us. Bible is full of murder. Or suicide. Bible is suicide too. And we have Bible and we have newspaper too. So these are the extremes. But you see, from mild to extreme, the more, this is where I want your feet to stop. And only the way you can stop here, because it's very slippery, drawing God's power and strength very consciously to be on top of this. But, okay, the more your extreme response, the greater the damage. I don't know, like I want to ask whether you can see yourself, but this is the humans, not the middle one. The right and left part is our default falling nature. Either we run or fight. Sometimes there are some people I know, they run until they cannot, they go and fight. But I was by default escaper. By God's grace, God is working with me to be a peacemaker. So this is a very powerful tool for spotting your pattern, and especially your close relationships. I recommend you to just ponder on it, because it is really good. In my family, I can see why I am the way I am, and then Lord is bringing more attacker people in my life to make me strong in Him, because I'm afraid of attackers. But He's teaching me to look up to Him and be afraid of Him first, and then He's turning coward to a brave person. Actually, this is what He's doing. So, very quickly, to escape responses, I want to give you some points to, if you are an escape person, or if your loved ones or the people you will be facing escape responses. With the escape responses, they are more interested in avoiding a conflict instead of resolving. They avoid. Some people, they think all conflicts are dangerous. If we try to fix it, it will damage the relationship. So we should just agree. Christians, we should agree. But that's a big lie. There are two ways of escape people do. One of them is they deny. They deny either, most of them they deny that the problem doesn't exist. But some of them, they recognize the problem, but they deny their part to solve the problem. And it can bring temporary relief, but it makes the situation worse. Another way is to flight or run away. divorce your husband, leave the church, quit the job, end the relationship, run away so you don't have to face. This is also really, really damaging. And I just want to encourage you, you can fight in two cases. If you're really confused, emotionally hurt, and if you're not able to give a positive part to the solution, you can just respectfully and temporarily, can I take this time away to just pray and reorganize my thought? I'm confused. I do that to my husband. Can we stop? I'm confused. I don't know. I'm hurt. I don't wanna hurt you. I wanna hurt you. So can I go? And now he knows that I'm not ignoring him. In the beginning, he said, "You're ignoring me." No, I'm so confused. I don't know what's right, who's wrong. So this is good. This is healthy. You can just step back temporarily, respectfully, not punishing other person. This is good. Flight, or maybe stepping back. But the second one is if there is abuse, physical abuse, flight. But I'm talking about escape from the conflict. Does it make sense? So, very shortly, escapers focus on running. Where are we? Peace fakers. They are peace fakers. They act like there's peace, but they don't care about the reality of peace. So, anything else that I forgot? This is the characteristics of escapers. They focus on themselves. I'm focused on me, so I don't want to have trouble. I'm looking for an easy way and non-threatening way. Can we go to attack responses? Plenty of people run from a fight, but some people, they won't. People use attack responses. They are more interested in winning than the relationship. They see conflict as a contest to win or assert their rights, control other people, take advantage of a situation for their needs. They apply pressure, eliminate the other person. And they do two characteristic responses. Most of attack is on assault. Some people use physical, but mostly it is verbally. I have a saying in Turkish, "You are slapping me with your words." So Lord puts me a lot of people around me doing that to me. So what I was saying, okay, they use more common verbal assaults, and sometimes they veil by humor or sarcasm those words, but this is assault. They are attacking by the words. They excuse and they say usually, "I didn't mean it," or "I was joking." No, it's a veil. They're attacking you verbally. So whatever is the form, it is always to make the conflict worse. And the second one, they use litigation, another attack response. This isn't simply using the legal system to force their desired result. Even if you don't end up in a court, what we do, we go to a friend, we go to a family member or colleagues, and we tell them how we have been treated. And also, I don't know what you guys do it, but you keep thinking, I should have said this instead of that. I should have said that. So you are still on your case in your mind. And actual courtrooms, litigation is a fact of life like business, schools, neighborhoods, person-to-person issues, but often try to force others to bend to their will by taking them to court to get the results that they want. That's why Christians are commanded to settle their differences in the church rather than civil courts. In Corinthians book, it's 6:18 says. This is very brutal to attack to each other on a civil way or in the courts. Because let's say you'd carry your, like Lauren, to the case of Lauren to court and got what she wanted, but the relationship is gone. And it's not a actually solution. Where are we? Okay, an attacker response characteristic is they blame people, and they would like to cave you and solve the problem, and they are peace breakers to get what they want. They are more concerned about winning than relationship. Does this, until this point, helping you to see your conflicts a little bit clearer? Because, okay, there's two of them what you heard so far. These are our sinful nature. This is in us. This is by default we respond. Nobody in this class is a natural peacemaker unless God is working in them. These two responses, they won't resolve any issues, whether we escape or attack. We say partly or in whole, say bye-bye to that person, that relationship. But when I focus on peacemaking instead of attacking or escaping, I am not focusing on me, I am not focused on you, but I'm focusing on God and us. Because everyone can escape or attack. So like I said, if you want to stay on this slippery slope, you have to consciously be aware of where you are at and draw God's resources to not to go either way. Okay. Peacemaking applies the gospel and God principles. And I have 4 G's, and it really helped me. Let me see, do we have time? Okay. Okay. I have this. The first one is glorify God. I will mostly spend time in this, the first 2, the first 3 and 4. I think the result of this 2. These principles tell us who does what, who says what, and when. And when the conflict comes, of course, this is not our default, but to glorify God. Okay, as a married lady, I can say in the beginning of our marriage, by God's grace, we didn't fight a lot. When some people says the first year was the hardest, no. But when we get in an argument, now I can realize and see better that I was really my main focus is to make my husband to see my point. This is what I'm trying to say. Not necessarily like being rude or anything, but I had this drive to just make that point. This is what I know is right, and this is... So this drive, let's say one day we had an argument, like we had a disagreement, and I'm trying to make my parts clear, and I'm talking. I'm not the nigger, but I'm trying to make myself clear. And if I see he didn't get it or he didn't receive it, this both different stuff though, and I say, okay, let me tell you again. So I can hear my voice hanging, but I'm like, no, I have to make him understand. And then I stop, and I believe just Lord reminded me, like, how can I glorify God in this situation? It came and go, and then I started to continue again, but God made it strong. Like, how can I glorify Him? Then I stopped. I got quiet, went in the kitchen. Okay, Lord, I know I'm pride, but Lord, you know I'm trying to make my point. And I'm sorry, Lord, could you please help me? And if the Lord is speaking to Kid at the same time, it's good. Like I can go and just... It's totally different change of talk though. And then the conversation goes better by me approaching, I'm sorry, honey. Like, I'm really sorry. Like, I shouldn't be so coming on you like that. I just get sidetracked. So, our tendency to ignore God when the conflict happens creates the biggest problem. We just ignore God because we are only busy dealing with this person. I'm busy with you, busy with myself, busy with the problem. So, and God is usually the last thing on our minds. All we think is, you did a bad thing, I have to tell you how I feel, I need to get away from you, you hurt me, you deserve, I blame. And I focus on me being right and you being wrong, and entirely horizontal focus. Blind to everything, especially to God. Just you and me and the problem. God has a really higher purpose in your conflicts. Please look at your family, and please look how you respond to them. If you have a painful relationships at home, God has a higher purpose. It is not, you're not a victim. It's not just, this is a simple word. God is using that mom, using that dad, or whoever it is that you have you're losing sleep over. That person, God has a bigger purpose than you can right now even imagine. So I encourage you to stop taking it horizontally notice first. And don't see that that person is a threat to you. Don't see that this is just messing your life. It is something that God is going to use that person to change you to image of Jesus. So, and I don't want you to escape or attack to that person. It's easy. It's easy to, I have a person in my life that is easy for me to be away from her. It is so healthy for me to, but at the same time it's so healthy for me to keep the boundaries healthy, but love and still reach out and still get hurt, still get healed by God and trust Him. So the solution to this horizontal problem, stop and look up. The next time you find yourself how do you say this in English? Like you are pulling, he is pulling, or she is pulling, you're pulling.
Tug of war.
Hmm?
Tug of war.
Yeah. Stop This is the best thing you can do to recognize God's presence. So just stop, and then it's gonna just start getting better. I'm not telling you to run away. I'm telling you to stop and realize that you're in a situation in front of God present, and you can draw whatever you need that for that moment. Maybe to grace to shut up, or grace to just calm down, grace to just not to pursue your right in the other person. Just wait and ask God, like, God, could you please calm me about this, because I really cannot handle myself. And please try to ask these questions. It really helped me. Like, where is God in this? What is God doing in here? Like, with this person again, what are you doing, Lord? Could you please help me, because I'm really getting angry again. So give whatever those questions, it works for me. Like, where is God in this? What is God doing in this? So when I ask these questions to myself, I get out of that drama. So simply stop. There is a beautiful insight in Corinthians when Paul, in the Corinth church, it's a really relevant church for today. There was a public fight, there was immoral relationships, and even drunkenness at church. And the main problem that they were only looking out for themselves. They were all about what they want, and they care about what they're getting. And Paul is writing to them. And do you remember what Paul said? It's going to make sense now. Paul said, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. So when you do that, when you display glory of God, this is what you don't have. You just display Him, His greatness, His forgiveness. That's why it's so crucial for each one of us to get deeper in the gospel, that we don't deserve mercy. If we receive it, we can give it. So I encourage you to pray. If you find yourself not loving and caring, getting to someone, Lord, could you please carry me deeper on this relationship between you and me? That how can I receive that undeserved mercy, forgiveness, love? So otherwise you cannot give. You'll try to work on it, but if you don't understand that, you cannot give. So how can we glorify God? Simply, one of them is obeying, because Jesus said, if you love me, you keep my commandments. And I want you guys to see conflict as an opportunity, not something to panic. This is an opportunity to glorify God, you show how big He is every time you depend on His grace, His undeserved love, mercy, forgiveness, strength, and wisdom. It is, when you think about it, if someone is not lovable, very ugly character, full of bad words in her mouth, let's say, and by God's grace, you are still looking at that person's eyes and saying hi, and sometimes it's not easy, but God will change your heart, and this is scandalous for world. It will surprise the world, and they will see God in you, because it's totally different than what they are practicing, because you're mirroring Jesus and you are displaying His presence. And before I jump to other one, I want to encourage you to also sometimes overlook on the mistakes people or sins to do it to you. I am not telling you run away or not to address, but think about this way. Like, Sometimes it's like driving. None of us are perfect drivers. Sometimes we forget the signal, right? Or we have a blind spot. We say or do stuff, not very, big, ugly motivation, but it just happens because of our nature. We say things and look. Enemy used to think that, oh, so you're not a good Christian. You said that. You think about that. But I encourage you to overlook, and just if that person they didn't do this, like with deliberately hate or plan towards you, just let it go. Just overlook. It's just like how God does this with us. Can you imagine this driving in each mini mistakes that we do? There is a bill coming to our home. Can you imagine that? We cannot pay. So to be gracious, it is super freeing. I remember Ingalill said once, like there was this lady, like she was talking with them, and she said, I love this magazine, and every 6 months there was this haircuts for my hair, and I was changing my hair design, not color but cut, every 6 months. And a lady from church asked, oh, you always change, and I said, I have this magazine, I really love to change. And then one of the ladies said, because she has problems, this is how she deals with her issues, changing her hairstyle. Can you imagine, like you are in, like this is happening to you, like you're talking and then somebody comes and tells this to you. And she said, I just act like I didn't hear, because it is about her heart, and I don't know her much, but if I take it personally, I'll get mad. I'll lose my mind if I try to take it personally. So it's good to just overlook. But if that person is dishonoring, damaging the relationship, dishonoring God, those are not. If it is repeating, no. Do the hard thing. Be a peacemaker. And the second one, how can I own my part of this conflict? G2, get the log out. I would like to share very practical points on this, and if there's a really good book if you guys want to read about peacemaking. Get the log out. You know the verse. Basically owning your part of a conflict. Whenever your blood pressures goes up and you feel that heat in your head, I encourage you to pray this: Lord, please open my eyes so I can see how I contributed into this problem. Because believe me or not, you are the part of the problem, you're in it. And we tend to maximize our sin, but even if it is a 2%, I want you to own that 100%. If you start owning that, you started to be a peacemaker. Okay, this really helped me to soften my mom's heart, my close relationships. There are some toxic, bad confessions. I'm sorry if I hurt you, or you're not admitting that you're wrong. If you are still proud, if there's 2% of what you contributed, own it. Just say it. Don't say let's forget about it, or I guess it's not all your fault. No, be specific. You're sending a signal saying that I'm not really convinced I did something wrong. I'm not convinced. I'm just, saying it. I don't mean it. Because deep down, if you're saying if, this is more your fault than mine. You're saying if. You're not convinced on your part. So if you really make, if you really want to make peace, there's someone is upset with you. First of all, I want you to ask God, please search my heart, Lord, and show me if there is a way to offend you. And after that, these steps really help me. First of all, address everyone. There are two different sins. There are social sins and heart sin. Heart sin, you hated her in your heart. The Lord knows. You just get irritated. You got jealous over her, and you can just say, Lord, you heard it. You saw it in my heart. Please forgive me. Change my heart. I think I'm jealous over her. So that's done. You don't have to tell anyone. But social sin, I'm going to give example with being married. You're married, you're in the car, you get over, you just emotionally, you just lost it, and there are kids in the back. So when you ask forgiveness from your husband and the kids. You have to address everyone. If you don't have kids, you can, if it happens in front of your friends, you affect them. You damage your witness in front of them. So you have to be aware of making them immole of your verbal argument. So I already said don't use if, but don't use but too. I used to do that to my husband. This is what I was saying, girls, the first year of my marriage. You made me angry. Like, I got really angry, but you made me angry. But, so it just doesn't help. It's not a sincere repentance. It's just still, I have to deal with you. You know, still you have your part, I'm still angry. So, I was wrong, but so were you. So you are still attacking. You are still on your case. You are not trying to make peace. It is because when you go to someone to talk, it's not about you. It's about her. You are going for her, not to feel good about yourself. This is what brings healing. I'm more concerned about her feelings. Then some Christians say, oh, I'm gonna say this so I can be right with God. So this is okay, but if you care about that person hurt, that the healing will start, because Delilah will understand I really care about my part I damaged or there's hurt there. And then admit very specifically. And the more detail you provide when you confess, the more likely you get a positive reaction. Oh, I blew it as a friend, or don't say that. I am sorry that I spoke behind your back, or I am not a good worker. No, just say, I have a very negative attitude last few months, and I was sarcastic towards you. Just be specific. By you owning, you're owning actually respect. People are respect. They will respect out of that. Like, God can change this ugly, like they can make something beautiful out of me. You know that. This is what is the process starting. And then acknowledge the hurt. If you want someone to respond positively to your confession, make it a point to acknowledge to him or her to hurt you cause. Aim to show that you understand how the other person felt as a result of your own word or action. Maybe you can say, you must have felt really embarrassed when I said those things in front of everyone. I'm sorry I did that to you. It takes a lot of courage to make those 2-3 lines, because we hate to be wrong, or we want to just admit. But if you be real, specific, I don't want you to talk too long. Just very specific. Just say the truth. And if you're not sure how the other person felt, ask. It can be dangerous sometimes, you assume, but you can say, have I understood how I hurt you? So you are engaging very closely. You're being intimate with the situation. And you have to accept the consequences. If you gossip, it might take time for you to build that relationship. Or maybe you damage somebody's property. I don't know. accept the consequences. So it's demonstrate genuine repentance. And alter your behavior, so people can see that you are not repeating yourself. See? And ask for forgiveness and allow time. If you talk through each of those steps with someone you have offended, many will be willing to forgive you and move on. But if the person you have confessed to doesn't express forgiveness, however, you can ask, will you please forgive me? Please ask that again. Will you please? And then if the signal is not coming, now we have to wait. But it's okay. Some people need time to forgive because they are in the flesh too. They are fighting too. So reconciliation doesn't happen right away because the pressure. But when you took those steps, you are free to stay in God's peace and give that person to Lord's hand. You're not responsible. Well, it's a very long, detailed subject, but I wanted to visit this too, because I'm going to be very short on this too. G3 is gently restore. This is, if you do this two steps very sincerely and genuinely, to gently restore means to go to other person and make shown that their responsibility in what happened, because always two people involved. No matter, like I told you, if it is 2%, take the step, own that 100%, own 100% of that 2%, get the log out that part, and gently first after explain yourself. But I would like to tell you that by you telling me all that thing in front of those people, it didn't help me. So you are just giving. But after this too, they can receive this. But some people, they might not, because everybody has a different heart. Some of them is really very hard-hardened, but most of the time, gently you can restore after this too. The last one, go and be reconciled. It is, how can I forgive? How can I give forgiveness and help reach a reasonable solution? But as you can see, this is how it starts with God. Did you guys see your pattern? I would like to ask, like, are you an escaper or attacker? But I don't see an attacker here. I don't know you that much, but you don't look like an attacker.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know, everybody looks like you're an escaper. I am too, Lisa, so. So I don't know, but this really helped me to see myself and other people around me. And it's, if you really guys want to read more about it, Ken Sande, this is the book. Actually, what I gave to you is, it's a summary of this book, but there's another book called Peacemakers. He's a counselor, a Christian counselor. We went to a conference and we listened to him. He has so many skills and insights of, this is his gift. He was a lawyer before, now he is a counselor. It's showing, it's teaching you, these are the tools how we should approach people, because our life will get messy with people. and we will play a part in it. Any questions?
Who are the authors?
Ken Sande. This is a very light book, and actually if you read it like, oh, Vesta told me this, so you can just look at it and you'll see my teaching, because it's very basic points. But Peacemaker is a good book. I think if you have time you can read it.
Who wrote that?
Ken Sande again.
Oh.
This guy. Okay. Anything surprising to you guys here? What can I say? What surprised me when I was studying on God's gifts, like how, like my husband said this to me the other day, when somebody points out something lacking, this is actually sometimes, most of the time, their gifts. Like they see that at church, or how we are, like some people are like people focused, need focus, serving focus. It's just so obvious actually when you study the gifts. And of course they have strengths and weakness. And I believe my main gift is servant. I am not leader, but the first dominant one is servant. And I just like to serve. I just like to do stuff, cleaning, organizing. That's me. I love it. And someone was preaching, and someone said, servants serve to prepare a stage for God to work on it. And I'm like, yes, this is what I am, Lord. When I'm fixing something, cleaning something, this is how I am setting a stage for you, Lord, to work, so you can work on God. But at the same time, because being a servant, I love authority. But if I'm not biblical, I can pick someone as authority and do what people say. Or I serve too much, I burn out. Or I stop, or maybe I intervene God's discipline or God's work in somebody's life by doing too much. You can see? And there are gifts, the certain gifts has certain strengths and weakness. I don't like, I'm all new, I'm speaking, you guys are not speaking. Don't like that.
What research what did you read and look up for the gifts?
There was this lady who was kind of mentoring me, and she gave me references of a book, and Arthur Burke. You can look him up, his teachings, and I think he has a book too, but I mainly listen his sermons. And it's interesting how she said, and he said, there are churches with a different gifting, churches, and God placed them with a different purposes. Like there are some mercy churches, so the pastor is a gift of mercy, and it's drawing mercy people. And there's a strategic places, cities, and it's just mind-blowing when you look at the big picture, how God chooses a leader with a gifting, and sometimes he changes the leader to draw other gifted people, because you are responding something that it's speaking to you, speaking to your character, so you can you can receive it easily.
What do you think this church has?
Right now, teacher.
Okay.
But I think before it was encouragement. The gift, I think I think Ricky Ryan, it's my opinion, was an encourager. Yeah. I didn't. I don't know. Yeah, Lars is gift talking, and also reaching out. Keith is pure 99.9% is teacher. Yeah. So Guzik is a teacher, gift of teaching.
What was the guy's name that you said?
Arthur Burke.
Arthur Burke.
Mm-hmm. I can email you.
Arthur.
I can email you. So it's good to know why you do the things you do.